ICUC 2.0 में सस्टेनेबिलिटी को लेकर राष्ट्रीय और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय विमर्श देखने को मिला। ग्रासरूट वर्करों को मुंबई में किया पुरस्कृत। मुंबई 14 सितंबर 2025 टाटा क्लीन अप और ग्रीन माइना के साझा प्रयासों से मुंबई में इंडिया क्लीन अप कॉन्फ्लुएंस ICUC 2.0 का आयोजन किया गया। एक छोटे से प्रयास को बड़ा रूप देते हुए इस आयोजन में भारत को ज्यादा स्वच्छ और हरियाली युक्त बनाने को लेकर सामूहिक कार्ययोजना को लेकर व्यापक चर्चा की गई। इस एक दिन चली बैठक में 350 भागीदारों, 60 से ज्यादा संगठनों और नागरिक स्वयंसेवकों ने हिस्सा लिया। कुल मिलाकर इसकी पहुंच देश भर के लोगों तक हो गई। इस साल के सत्र का मुख्य आकर्षण ICUC चेंजमेकर अवार्ड रहा, जो देश भर से आए और पर्यावरण को बचाने के लिए काम कर रहे ग्रास रूट लोगों को सम्मानित किया गया। मुंबई के BMC सफाई कर्मचारियों को मुंबई को स्वच्छ बनाए रखने के लिए सम्मानित किया गया, जिससे पूरा माहौल रोमांचित हो उठा। इस अवसर पर देश के सस्टेनेबिलिटी आंदोलन को अपनी आवाज और सहयोग दे रही जानी मानी हस्तियां शामिल हुईं। इनमें मोनिका नागेलगार्ड, भारत में नॉर्वे की काउंसल जनरल थे डिसूजा, संस्थापक बीटरूट न्यूज, उद्यमी बिट्टू सहगल, सेंचुरी नेचर फाउंडेशन के संस्थापक, कार्तिक सत्यनारायण, वाइल्ड लाइफ SOS के सह संस्थापक और CEO टीमी शार्क लिसन लाइट्स प्राइवेट लिमिटेड के ग्रुप CEO प्रसिद्धि सिंह, युवा पर्यावरणविद और प्रसिद्धि फॉरेस्ट फाउंडेशन की संस्थापक, प्रदीप सांगवान, कीलिंग हिमालयाज फाउंडेशन के संस्थापक, मल्हार कलाम्बे, बीच प्लीज इंडिया, जिमी मिस्त्री, फ्यूचरिस्ट और डेला टाउनशिप के संस्थापक, लिजार जानकोविक, सिविक चेंजमेकर, एक दिन एक गली और ढेर सारे गणमान्य व्यक्ति उपस्थित रहे।
Good afternoon to everyone. I think it's fantastic that so many of you have given up a Sunday afternoon to come here and be part of something bigger than ourselves and more important than anything else that's going on. So a round of applause for yourselves and for all of the amazing work that each of you is doing. I think that, a lot of my audience tends to be millennial and Gen Z, and there's a lot of guilt when it comes to the environment. So stories that we write about climate change, about environment, the destruction of forests, so on and so forth, people like to share, people like to sort of angst about. But I think that where there's a missing link is, there can be a lot more space, there should be a lot more space in media dedicated to telling stories about what's really going on, but also linking it to what's happening to us today. The fact that most of the Himalayan plains are just getting washed out right now with floods, and no one's connecting that directly to climate change and talking about the fact that we've already messed up quite a bit, and this is going to get worse. The Western Ghats are facing their own problems. There's a missing link there where people don't feel like it's happening to them, where you're sharing, you're liking, you're angsting about something that's happening to somebody else. And because we don't feel like it's going to happen to us, it's not affecting or it's not changing daily behavior. And that's why there's more garbage on Carter Road, and that's why there's not enough change in our cities, because we're still talking about it hypothetically like it's far away, it's not happening to us, it's happening in some forest somewhere else, and that we're not, and somehow I feel that that's the media's job to make that link as well, and we've lost that out. So on mainstream media there has to be, environment in newsrooms is still like a small beat that's given to a junior reporter in the corner, because कुछ environment का कुछ कर रहे हैं कोई जाके कुछ देख लो, which she also knows that this is how it's done, but it needs to now be at the center of the page because of how it's going to change our lives and how it's already changing our lives. But apart from that, I think that there needs to be a direct connect made where people feel like, I need to fix this or I'm going to get sick tomorrow. That connect we're not able to make right now.
Create that kind of momentum within the organization. Thanks to ICUC, all of our efforts before ICUC were towards social causes, going to destitute children kind of NGOs, going to old age homes, etc. I am proud to say that post our involvement in ICUC and the kind of traction we got within the organization, our boys by themselves, eloquently, they went to Raigad Fort twice in the last year to clean up the entire fort. It is just not Tata cleanup, it was Raigad Fort cleanup as well. On the policy aspect, where I want to touch base on is, we are in an industry, MEP industry, where we produce a lot of construction waste. Also the kind of customers that we serve, we build data centers, we build corporate commercial offices. There is a lot of work that needs to go in order to create that kind of awareness, because we talk about bringing wellness within the workspace, we talk about how we can improve the efficiency of a data center, but we never speak about how can we also take care of environment while we do all of this. So there are a lot of seminars, conferences, events that go around with a lot of big institutions like Siemens, Schneider, ABB, those guys, about how we can improve our work, but none of the events actually focus on the environmental impact. So people, planet and policy coming together, that requires a lot of traction. What we are doing is our bit. We are tracking whatever waste we are producing as Listenites as to how much of the waste is going to the landfill and how much of waste going to the landfill is actually recycled, how much is hazardous versus non-hazardous. We segregate it, we report those numbers internally. There is actually no policy within the government framework where we need to report the numbers to the government. So the first thing that we need to do is build a policy around where it is mandatory for every corporate to report those numbers. There are a lot of jargons around carbon emissions and the emissions that we need to report. But there is no policy, I can guarantee you there is no policy that makes us responsible to actually report those numbers to the government. So that is my take on the policy aspect.
I'm sorry, just to interject here, do you think this policy, if it's there, I mean, do you think that will make a difference? I mean, again, I'm talking about policy, but at the same time, I also feel enforcement of policy is also a big challenge, right? So, I mean, when it comes to corporate levels, do you think policy enforcement and action is somewhat more seamless than when it comes to citizens?
So, corporates have ESG goals, right? Environment, social and governance goals. In the board meetings, in AGMs, annual general meetings, it's a hot topic. Okay. Enforcement, yes. Everything in our country works with enforcement, like she said, pressure, right? Nothing will move. The needle will not move unless there is pressure. On the citizen aspect, as a corporate, what we can do is take care of the mindset of the citizens we are responsible for, and that's our own people. How we shape their mindset, how we shape their habits and behaviors.
Take a step back and look at things slightly differently. That's how we look at Project Mumbai. I see things with a glass half full. Things are possible. You know, the fact that Faye spoke about so many people on Sunday afternoon says a lot that it's possible. What we at Project Mumbai started off, when we started off with beach cleanups, and now answering that question, if I take citizens to Dharavi, with full respect to Dharavi, or to the Methi River, they're never going to come back. Okay? For obvious reasons. They may not survive. But the moment I take them to a beach cleanup, we do realize that beach cleanups are not the solution. Okay? You need to clean up our own mindsets, not to litter, not to, and I'm not giving you gyan right now. But the moment I take you to a beach cleanup, it's not about the beach cleanup I'm doing. It's I'm getting people out of their comfort zones and saying, I stepped out and I volunteered. And when Project Mumbai started off a few years ago, we got people to say, our tagline initially was Mumbai ke liye kuch bhi karega. Okay, that's what Project Mumbai is all about. And from there we changed our tagline to say Kuch Pal Apne Sheher ke liye, which loosely translated means a bit of your time for the city. That's what I think what you spoke about is about time. And from there we realized that Mumbai does want to, when I say Mumbai, I talk about citizens, and citizens are not about those who are born here. Even if you're living here for some time, there is a sense of me being a Mumbaiker, there is a sense of kindness most people have. We are trying to make Mumbai the country's kindness capital. But what is missing is a sense of ownership. One of your colleagues introduced us with the railway station initiative, and I'll tell you where this is linked and with the beach cleanup and what's missing right now. When we beautified 36 railway stations of Bombay, One problem that most initiatives lack is scale. Because Mumbai is huge. The moment I do something in Goregaon, Goregaon East, Goregaon West will not know it. Some of you who are in Mumbai will understand that. I do something in Dadar, Chembur will not know. So when we beautified railway stations, we beautified 36 stations in 1 week with 35,000 people like you and me. None of them knew each other, but by the end of the week, everybody knew each other. What we did was, you live in Vile Parle, beautify Vile Parle station. You live in Dadar, beautify Dadar station. What we created was a sense of ownership, that this is my station as well. We often, I don't know how many of you, my generation, has watched a movie called Diwan with Amitabh Bachchan and Shashi Kapoor. Okay, in which Amitabh Bachchan says, "Pehle uska sign leke aao, fir main sign karunga." You know, we are so used to saying, "Pehle usko pakdo, fir main karunga. Pehle usko roko, uske baad main karunga." Traffic police ko kehte hain, "Stop that guy to violate, then I will stop violation." You know, when am I going to stop first? So, can I be the custodian of the 100 meters where I live, work and play? Stop looking at other people. Things will change by themselves. Policy, and the last point, adding to what Faye also said, and what you Nupur added, was that we need pressure, but pressure not about activism only. Just the size itself matters. You know, a lot of the things that we at Project Mumbai have done have been at scale. And in the last 6 years that we've been around, we've impacted about 1.7 crore lives, which is about 9,000 people every day. And which is now the state government reaches out to us to say, "Will you help us?" But the moment we come out in large numbers, quietly doing something, the state will take you seriously. But the moment I say, "Ye mera nahi hai, ye uska hai," then we are never going to. Environment is not only about climate change and weather, it's about urban environment. Can I do a bit of my time for anything around me? My state of mind will change and our environment will become far more better. So the pressure can come in with all of us working together, and trust me, it's possible. You know, we are far more, I don't want to compare, we all compare about air quality in Delhi versus Bombay, and we say we are better off. But soon that comparison will stop. But we are far better city than most other cities in the world. I'm not taking consolation from that fact. But we can be even more better, and that we are better today because of a whole bunch of people sitting
So much for inviting me here today. I wanted to start by saying that both Norway and India are ocean countries. We share in common that we have vast coastline. We have people living by the ocean and of the ocean. And I think the fact that our livelihoods depend on the ocean makes it a common cause for us to protect the life in the ocean. And this is where our collaboration on marine pollution comes in. A cornerstone of the bilateral relationship between bilateral collaboration between Norway and India is what we call, we have a pillar on blue economy. And under the blue economy pillar, we have a collaboration called Indo-Norwegian Marine Pollution Initiative. And under this initiative, the Norwegian government provides funding. It's development assistance funding for 5 projects in India. And some of them are projects where we provide funding for local NGOs and institutions. Other of the projects are projects where Norwegian partners work together with Indian partners to combat plastic pollution and marine pollution. And one of the projects that I'm very closely involved in through my job here in Mumbai at the Norwegian Consulate General is a collaboration with the Afro-Shah Foundation. Norway has been supporting their work for the past 10 years. And actually right this week, Afro-Shah and his team are in Norway. They have been there for 10 days. One of the projects that we support is a collaboration between the Afro-Shah Foundation here in Mumbai and a foundation in Norway called Framtidshavet, and they both work in and with the local communities to raise awareness and to train people and of course, not just to clean beaches, but to work in the communities to ensure that you tackle the problem at the root, that you focus on the reduction, reuse, recycling, and then finally on the beach cleanup. So yeah, just a little bit of history there.
Tackling the problem at grassroots. Faye, I think I would want to ask you the next question, which is about, in fact, I was discussing with a friend that I'm going to be on stage with you, and he said that I would want you to ask one question. It's actually on his behalf. But essentially, I want to understand environment education in school is still something which is a very weak subject. So when, Ms. Monica speaks about tackling problems at grassroots and involving communities, do you think is there merit in strengthening environment education in schools so that kids learn how to segregate waste or talk about it from schools itself and then tackle this problem?
So my honest opinion is that environment education in school is actually very robust. In most schools, I understand, even the BMC schools, it's the parents who are the problem. And I know for sure one school told me that they had told children that firecrackers are bad for you, they're bad for the environment, they're bad for the animals, they're bad for the senior citizens, they're bad for everybody. And so children started going home and telling their parents, we don't want fireworks this year. And the parents came back to the school and said, how dare you interfere in how we celebrate our religious festivals? And then the school backed off, saying, okay, it's not our job to interfere, we won't say it anymore. So I think that yes, we are teaching our children amazing things. Maybe we can arm them with the ability to argue with their parents and actually, force the segregation at home. Maybe there's a need actually to push that final change, not just between children and parents, but between parents and housing societies, with housing societies and garbage collection, between garbage collection where that garbage actually finally does wind up. So this feeling that we have in the city saying, I'm just one person, how can I make a change? We need to somehow close that entire loop of, yes, I will segregate, and my child will come home and insist that we segregate at home, but can we then get the building society to manage that garbage responsibly? Can the garbage collection be done responsibly? When it is finally taken to the collection point, can it be handled responsibly? Because a lot of times people turn around and say, oh yeah, we segregate, but then they mix it up again. And so what's the point? And then what happens is the education that you've taken, the trouble to impart to children remains on paper because they are not able to push final action. Just hustling and you're working and you're constantly on, and it's a city that is only designed for those people who can work constantly. So if you are elderly, if you are not able-bodied, or you are differently able, or you are caring for someone who's differently able, you're caring for a child, or you're caring for an elderly person, or you have mental health issues, or you're caring for someone with mental health issues, we have no room for you in this city. You're just a problem that has to be written out of the way. We have no room on our streets, we have no room in our buildings, we have no room in our government offices. There's just no room for someone who will slow us down. And I think that that's a terrible, terrible thing. And we have to find a way to work around this as a city. Because what are we if we're not inclusive? Right? It's a really, really deeply saddening thing. And we've been like this, for as long as I can remember. So I really think that we should find a way to make Mumbai adequate for every Mumbaiker.
I think Mumbai adopted the wheelchair basketball team. Part of our work is mental health for adolescents. Soon these adolescents will grow up and then we'll have a generation of people struggling to cope with failure. We adopted the wheelchair basketball team because sport is a great unifier, and these wheelchair players, starting from 3 players, now we've got 60 players, they are now national champions. We take them to schools and colleges and get them to play a game of wheelchair basketball. I'm sharing this because I want all of us to be aware. At the end of the game, we get these players, get the citizens, able-bodied people to sit in a wheelchair. And we've had one prominent school in South Mumbai where the basketball team of the school later on so impressed, sat in wheelchairs and played a game of wheelchair basketball. The principal sat in the wheelchair and they were so transformed. But it's high time we move from the emotional transformation to an actionable transformation. And this is where my call to action is. I think it's important that we take climate action to becoming an elitist to a climate action citizen-led movement. On that note, what we at Project Mumbai are doing is we are hosting the Mumbai Climate Week 6 months from now, where we look at energy transition, we look at urban resilience, we look at food and agri-systems. But while these are deep dive conversations that take place in rooms, we're taking climate conversation into the city. From climate and mental health, most of us are not aware how serious this issue is. We look at climate and sport, look at climate and cinema, we look at climate and food. I may not be a climate expert like so many of you are, but if I'm a foodie, when I go to a restaurant, I should be able to see the menu and say, this food that I'm eating, how is climate impacting it? We're looking at climate and art, we're looking at climate and sports and different things.
Problems that we are talking about. I really want to understand one of the things that Carter Cleanup deals with, and I think this is where I feel policy can really play a very important role, is also how we can tackle the problem of marine litter. And I think this is something we have been dealing with a lot. So I would want, I think Ms. Monica, if you can talk about, because you specifically touched upon the subject of ocean and how we live off it. This marine litter issue, what do you think is really the solution for it? And are there any notes that CSR can really pick this up?
A difficult question. But I think what's really important is that I don't think there is one solution. I think, or like one thing that can fix the entire problem. I think it's very important to have a very holistic approach to the problem and how to solve it. And I mentioned earlier how we are talking about beach cleanups, and I was talking to several people here today about the importance of beach cleanups. And we were also talking earlier before coming in here about how do you, go to beach cleanups every Saturday, and how do you keep your motivation up coming there? And I have not been every Saturday since I came, but I've been to a number of cleanups. And some Saturdays I arrive, and I think I was here last week, and it looked so much better. And how do you keep up the motivation? And I think the purpose of going to these cleanups is it's part of that holistic approach. That in order to get people to come out there, and sort of see the problem, because people say seeing is believing, but seeing is believing. And in order to understand that, understand the problem, and to understand that you are also part of the problem, but you are part of the solution, you need to bring people out there. And then, and by doing so, by making people aware of what the problem is and the fact that they have to be part of the solution, you can go back and you can tackle the problem at the root, as I said. And I think this is what I mean about the holistic approach, that I think that, it's a combination of, policies, and then, of course, implementing the policies. Because I think India does have a lot of good policies. It's just that you need to implement them, and then you need both government, and you need civil society, and you need all the individuals to work together. So,
first is anything that is considered a waste. We need a policy around how can we actually convert that waste into an energy form. Okay, that is the most important piece that I see right now. Artificial intelligence is, I can't even call it, it's on the horizon, it's here. Even if we want to utilize and harness the power of AI, we would require that much amount of energy from our conventional energy sources that we need to think of ways that actually convert waste into energy forms. Otherwise, this AI piece is not for India. We are struggling, for example, in the Tamil Nadu region, just to get normal power sanctions for building offices or data center parks or whatever it is. So energy is one piece that we really need to focus on. There are a lot of corporates that have tied up with renewable energy sources, and the and the institutions that provide renewable energy sources to power their particular office. On the CRE professionals part, in order to convert the entire Magarpata city into, now you will see those EV buggies also out there, you will see EV buses also out there, you will see a real policy change with respect to those charging stations being installed out there. So there are good professionals, okay, within corporates as well, but how can this become a mass movement? My only request to ICUC, and I need a big cheer from the crowd, is ICUC will not be held in Mumbai next year. It has to be taken to multiple cities across India. Yes, no? Yes. Okay, alright.
I'll wait for your sponsorship.
Always.
Alright, perfect. So I think the panel is now open for any Q&A. If there are any questions, I'm done with my set of questions. But if there's any question, yes?
One point here. How many of you know that, you mentioned governance, that Mumbai is run by 18 agencies. Mumbai city, okay, is run by 18 agencies. So it's almost like an orchestra without a conductor. And the moment, so you have a BMC, you have a MMRDA, you have a SRA, you've got Environment Department, you've got MPCB, and each of them have officers. So you said no to me the last time, I'm going to say no to it this time. So there are lots of permutation combinations. So governance is really at the core of a lot of problems. Second becomes the political drama that goes on. And third, what Faye rightly pointed out, we at the ground level, just a simple example, when I go to buy vegetables, how many of us take a cloth bag and say, mujhe plastic bag mat dijiye? That's one part of it. There is a genuine problem from the vegetable vendor side, because the moment I say I will not take vegetables from you in a plastic bag, he knows that I might go to somebody else, so he has to offer something or the other. And so at our level, it's important the government encashes on it. It's a really big cash cow in the whole space, and it's politically hugely dominated. Someday, when we go to a gateway of India as a tourist spot, when we go to Haji Ali as a tourist spot, I think Deonar should be made into a Mumbai's tourist visit as well. It's India's largest garbage dump, which is 7 or 10 story high. That's when we realize, and that's when the public pressure comes in. The government is not really bothered at a large level, because politically, each one tries to do a one-upmanship on that, and then things go haywire.
वो cloth वाला परवड़ता नहीं है. So for example, one good example we have in the country is UPI. It is democratized, right? The last person on the ground is able to use UPI, okay, because it doesn't cost. We have a smartphone and everybody's life is convenient. But how do we democratize these cloth bags or sustainable bags for these kind of people, right? They said it is not possible for us to have our margins, run our houses, send money back home to our villages, and still be sustainable at the same time. So overall, the ecosystem is there where they know that cloth bags are supposed to be used. He didn't say, "Sir, aap kya baat kar rahe ho?" He didn't say that. He said, "Sir, parvartan."
मैं अरविंद गोरिशा एच वेस्ट वार्ड बीएमसी ऑफिस से सॉलिड वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट डिपार्टमेंट से कार्टर क्लीनअप ग्रुप अश्विन सर और उनकी पूरी टीम को काफी बधाई देता हूँ। उन्होंने हमेशा हमारे साथ रह के काफी हम लोग को सपोर्ट किया है हर बार। हमारी सर्विस बीएमसी की सर्विस हमारी एक्सपीरियंस है, हम लोग डेली वर्क करते हैं। और आपके साथ एक ही सेंटेंस शेयर करना चाहूँगा कि अगर सर्विस सपोर्ट मिलेगा तो काफ़ी हद तक पूरी की पूरी सर्विस सक्सेस हो जाएगी। तो सर्विस सपोर्ट और उसके बाद सक्सेस मिल सकता है और 100% मिल सकता है। थैंक यू वेरी मच, आपने हम लोग को यहाँ पे बुलाया, काफ़ी इज्जत अफजाई की, इसके लिए बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। थैंक यू सर।
was in 1939 and because of the British years, that only one battalion was raised, around 700 people. After the partition, after the independence, it was decided that it was a British force, so they said कि इसको तोड़ दिया जाए, इसे खत्म कर दिया जाए. But Sardar Patel had a vision, as always. He said, let us keep this force. In 1949, we were called, in the British time it was called CRP, Ground Representative Police. But after independence, it was called CRPF in 1949. So CRP was called Central Reserve Police. Then F1 was included force. That time there were 101 battalion, there were around 700 people. Right now we are more than 3 lakhs 25 strength. We are the largest paramilitary force of the world. We have got a Mahila battalions also, we have got 5 Mahila battalions. We have got a Cobra battalion which are fighting the Naxals. We have got a battalions in especially, we are called the internal security force, IS. We are main job is internal security. So wherever the militancy, insurgency, terrorism is there, first responder is our force. So जब पंजाब शुरू हुआ था 80s में, so we were there. जब पंजाब खत्म हुआ, we were there. When Kashmir started, we were there. Even after Kashmir also, अभी भी we are still there. Northeast we were there. Naxals we are still fighting, and we are likely to finish by next year. We are having a target by 31st March. We may finish the Naxalism also. This is what our Manya Graha Mantri has given us the target. As far as the Ashwin is concerned, yes, we were fortunate. I was in Mumbai. They got a headquarters in Belapur, and we happened to get associated with Mr. Afroz, and there he was to come. And it's a fortunate thing कि आज उनकी mother-in-law, sorry, Nupur है, his wife, who happened to be meet, they both met on the beach at that place, and they got married. Same way we met on the beach, we got bonded. So I think beach is a very bonding place for all of us. It has been a very interesting panels here. मुझे लगता है कि जो प्रकृति है उसमें खास बात है. उसमें एक शब्द है नेचर का. there's only one word, सादगी. जो नेचर है वो बहुत सादगी से भरा हुआ है. हम उसे कॉम्प्लेक्स कर देते हैं. We complicate that सादगी. जो पानी है वो बिल्कुल साफ है, उसको हम पॉल्यूट कर देते हैं. हवा एकदम बिल्कुल साफ सुथरी है, उसमें हम लोग करते हैं. हम लोग nowadays we cannot even see the stars. एक समय था आज से 30-40 साल पहले आपको तारे दिखते थे. मतलब you could feel them. I remember my father used to tell us कि ये कौन सा constellation है. आज की तारीख में मैं अपनी बेटी को नहीं बता सकता कि तारे कैसे दिखते हैं. तो इस तरीके से जो सादगी है, जब तक आप वो सादगी को नहीं लाएंगे अपनी जिंदगी में, आप चाहे कितना भी एडवांस कर लीजिए, वो सादगी होनी बहुत जरूरी है. एंड वी आर वेरी सैड. इवन हम लोग भी हथियार लेके चलते हैं. I tell my people we are not supposed to kill people, we are supposed to defend people. हमारा हथियार आप लोग को बचाने के लिए, मारने के लिए नहीं है. So that is how we move with that mission, and ये आप लोगों का support है कि we are able to serve the nation. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
Completely resonates with us. I've been working on sustainability practically for the last 20 years, way before sustainability became a buzzword. We were the first ones to object to solvent-based paints. We were the first ones to bring water-based painting systems. I've been talking against acid cure, which is a known carcinogen, which is melamine, which is even today freely sold in our markets. And people don't have the knowledge to understand the impact a known carcinogen can have within a closed air-conditioned environment. I've been doing this for 20 years now. So for us, when we come across organizations and institutions like these, we naturally align with them. Our purpose at Della Township now is very single-minded focus on create environments where we can improve longevity and quality of life via the medium of design. That's what we call salutogenesis and salutogenic method of thinking and designing in real estate.
And can you suggest, I mean, in your current and upcoming projects, what are the biggest challenges you face in implementing these eco-friendly infrastructure, and how do you overcome them? Though you mentioned a little bit.
Well, I think it's a way of thinking. Our job as a designer is to overcome challenges. As a designer, you always kind of come across problems, and your job is to use design thinking and solve those problems. We've been incorporating blue zones, green zones. Sometimes they don't comply with what is required. We want to kind of divide them out. Certain times RGs and open spaces need to be assimilated and accumulated. Sometimes they want to accumulate it, but they want us to divide it. So minor issues like these keep coming. But I think if the intentions are clear to be able to wanting to do it, you can convince. And when people know you're not doing for commercial reasons, but you are doing for sustainability reasons because you believe in the cause, believe you me, even the bureaucrats support it and the government supports it completely.
Got it. And as a sponsor of this event, what message do you hope to send to consumers, stakeholders, and other developers with regards to sustainability practices?
Inspire people. Uh, take the message across so larger cross section of the society starts understanding and living by these principles, rather than they being just norms set up by the government. uh, it has to come from within, and there has to be a minimum critical mass. Every time we see road dividers with spelled concrete on it, dyed plants, garbage dumped between the roads, on the left hand side of the road, garbage not being cleared, loose gravel not being cleared, I think it requires a shake up of the system. And once you start doing it, it becomes a norm. Indians have a herd mentality. एक करेगा, एक एमएलए करेगा तो उसको देख के 50 एमएलए करेंगे, एक एमपी करेगा, कोई रास्ते के बीच में झंडा गाड़ के खड़े रह जाएगा कि एक्सेप्टेबल नहीं है, हमें ये अनकुत बिहेवियर अभी नहीं चलने वाला है, तो उसको देख के दूसरे 100 एमएलए करेंगे. पर that movement requires a minimum critical mass. More and more people need to get aligned with something like this. और ये हमारे देश का समय है, ये बदलने वाला नहीं है. This will only improve and improve and improve. So this is the time where we should become catalyst of change, and that's what Della Group wants to, and that's what Jimmy Mystery wants to be, the catalyst of change. Push this change down for the betterment of society, for the betterment of our country, whom we all love so much.
And I mean, from how can other players in the real estate, hospitality learn from Della's model to improve their environmental footprint?
I think if each and every developer can start emulating what Della is doing, that is what I am working towards, to bring about a sea change across the length and breadth of the country. If every developer works towards improving longevity and quality of life, these two things, rest of the things will align themselves, because the method to do it is very well known to all of us. There's no rocket science in it, right? But consciously doing it will allow other developers to emulate it, and when other developers start doing it, more developers will have to follow it. If everybody collectively in the country starts working towards improving longevity and quality of life of its occupants, of the developments that they're doing via the medium of design and design processes, that's the kind of sea change. I would be very happy at the end of the day, before I die, to turn behind and say, oh, we started this and the whole country is benefiting because of this. That would be the best gift I can get.
So your message to youth of Mumbai, like civic responsibility. Like today we see a lot of youth are participating in this conflict. So
Allow yourself to first dream of the kind of city you want to live in. Whether you are in a Dharavi Jhoppadpatti, or whether you are in somewhere, or whether you are in a posh apartment, allow yourself to dream of this city that we all aspire to have. A city that allows people to walk freely, a city that's devoid of dirt, a city that respects all equally. बिकॉज ये सपना देखते साथ ही परिवर्तन आ सकता है. जब तक हमारे खुद के दिलो दिमाग में ये परिवर्तन की कल्पना और ये परिवर्तन का विचार और ये परिवर्तन का सपना नहीं रहेगा, हम दूसरों को कन्विंस नहीं कर पाएंगे. और जब युवा पीढ़ी ये सपने को लेके चलेगा तो एक लहर बन जाएंगी. जैसे मैंने पहले कहा, हमारे देश में भेड़ बकरा मेंटालिटी है, वो हम सभी जानते हैं. I would love to be the first भेड़ बकरा over there which is giving this vision. I want a million to follow it, because ये परिवर्तन एक बार आने के बाद हमारे देश में ये परिवर्तन पूरे देश में आ सकता है. आप इंदौर को क्लीनेस्ट सिटी बना सकते हैं तो आप मुंबई को क्लीनेस्ट सिटी बना सकते हैं. ये परिवर्तन की बात है, ये कल्पना की बात है. सो आई एम वेरी वेरी कीन दैट वी शुड स्टार्ट एक्टिंग एज अ कैटलिस्ट, start allowing youth to dream of the kind of city they want to live in, which respects people, which gives them spaces where they can reflect, which gives them walking spaces, cycling spaces. It gives them a chance to enjoy their life no matter how miserable their life is on the other side. But the city provides for that enjoyment to one and all, not for the elitists but for the masses, and allows culture to prevail, allows music, dance, drama to prevail, allows spaces that we can go across and call as our city squares. ये सब चीजें एक परिवर्तन है. एक बार होना चालू हो जाएगा तो ये हर जगह हो जाएगा. आज की तारीख में फाइबर के पुतले लगाना बंद करें लोग. उनकी कल्पना में पब्लिक स्पेसेस का ब्यूटिफिकेशन, फाइबर के पुतले लगाना है. फाइबर के पुतले लगाने से परिवर्तन नहीं आने वाला. उसमें लगाने में कोई गलत नहीं है, लेकिन देयर इज अ बेटर वे टू स्पेंड मनी. और ये पैसा जो खर्च रहे हम, इसे सही मायने में सही दिशा में खर्चे तो ज्यादा लोगों का भला होगा और देश का भला होगा. ये मेरा मानना है. थैंक यू. जय हिंद.
Introduce Freesia. So Freesia is one of the most dynamic personality I have come across. We are co-founders of Carter Cleanup, and I'm also co-founder of Green Miner. And I think this whole initiative of India Cleanup Confluence started fun together, and that's basically Felicia for us, who's really using her voice to amplify the work that we do, and I think there's a lot more like Felicia that's needed in this planet today.
Now I have to top that. This is Nupur Agarwal, and she is our co-founder not only at Carter Cleanup, but she is also the founder of Green Miner. And Nupur की story बहुत ही अनोखी और बहुत प्यारी है because she met her husband at a beach cleanup. And I think they have also inspired many people to realize that beach cleanups can be a lot of fun. It can be the place where you can come and meet new people, create impact, create value, and that is all of that what she also stands for.
So, what inspired you to create ICUC, and how it has grown from last year?
ICUC's first edition was actually remarkable because हमने नहीं सोचा that we would get this kind of response. Of course, with the second edition, we have almost seen double the number of people that have come and joined us, double the number of cleanup movements. पूरे इंडिया से बहुत सारे लोग आए हैं just for this particular edition. And one of the main things was कि हमारे इंडिया में ढेर सारे एक्चुअली नॉट इवन ढेर सारे हजारों क्लीन अप मूवमेंट्स हैं बीचेस माउंटेन्स मैनग्रोव्स फोर्ट रिवर लेक all the ecosystems are getting cleaned लेकिन एक प्लेटफॉर्म नहीं है for all of them to come together.
करेक्ट। और ये प्लेटफॉर्म जो है ये सिर्फ क्लीन अप मूवमेंट्स के लिए नहीं है। क्लीन अप मूवमेंट्स की पूरी इकोसिस्टम एक आर्मी होती है जिसमें कॉर्पोरेट्स, जिसमें स्पॉन्सर्स, जिसमें वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट टीम, जिसमें पॉलिसी मेकर्स। तो ये प्लेटफॉर्म हमारा जो है इसका हमारा यही प्रयत्न है कि हम सबको एक साथ स्टेज पे लेके आ सकते हैं। तो क्लीन अप मूवमेंट्स भी अपनी बात बोल सकते हैं और जो स्पॉन्सर्स है, जो पॉलिसी मेकर्स है, उन लोग भी बात सुन सकते हैं और अपना बात बता सकते हैं। तो हमारा यही आइडिया कि एक स्टेज होना चाहिए जहाँ पे बातचीत हो सके।
And it comes under social responsibility. Like it is very difficult to bring people like where there is no profit actually.
Yes.
So how difficult it was to bring people together and.
Thank you for this question. I think I'll just take this and then I.
Yes, no, do it.
So सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी एक्चुअली हमारी लाइफ ईजियर कर देती है क्योंकि मैंडेट है गवर्नमेंट का कि आपको ये करना ही है, राइट। तो जैसे ही मैंडेट बनता है लोग हमको बोलते हैं कि हम आपके साथ कैसे जुड़ सकते हैं क्योंकि उनको पता है कि ये करना है। हमारा ये चुनौती है कि हम इसको सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी के बियॉन्ड कैसे लेके जाए।
But it is very difficult to bring people like into their busy schedule.
Yes, yes.
Without any monetary profit.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So what challenges you face?
So actually हम लोग भी बहुत सरप्राइज्ड है कि इतने सारे लोग आज हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए आए क्योंकि क्लीन अप एज अ कॉन्वर्सेशन, एज अ टॉपिक सबको लगता है कि गंदा होगा, इतना इंटरेस्ट नहीं है लोगों में। तो हमारे लिए भी काफ़ी बड़ा सरप्राइज है और ये हमारा एक्चुअली दिल बहुत भर गया है देख के कि इतने लोगों को इंटरेस्ट है क्लीन अप में। तो इनफैक्ट ये चुनौती की जगह हमारे लिए एक वो बन गया है कि चलो इतने लोग हैं इंटरेस्टेड, तो मे बी हम लोग गलत सोच रहे थे कि इतने लोगों को इंटरेस्ट नहीं है।
You being a youth, like you came forward and so what is the message to youth to come and participate in this clean up drive and clean up mission what you have taken up in daily life also as well as.
Right. So हमारे बीच क्लीन अप मूवमेंट्स में on a Saturday morning at 7:30 in the morning, at least 50 to 100, and if it is a big day like coastal cleanup day, 1,000 people come. And people, one thing that Nupur and I have always thought of and we have always said, ये मूवमेंट जो है और जितनी भी मूवमेंट्स है ये एक ऐसी जगह है where religion, rich, poor, nothing matters. Everybody comes together for one thing, which is the planet. And a lot of young people are now understanding that if there is no action now, it is not, there is going to be not a good planet left behind. They are more involved. They understand the gravity of the situation. सोशल मीडिया के दौरान बहुत लोगों को समझ में आता है कि इतना सारा प्लास्टिक है, ये प्लास्टिक रिसाइकल नहीं हो सकता है, वेस्ट सेग्रीगेशन होना चाहिए, क्लॉथ बैग लेके जाना चाहिए, प्लास्टिक टूथब्रश नहीं होना चाहिए। एंड दे ऑल व्हेन दे कम ऑन द बीच और वो देखते हैं दैट द सिचुएशन इज सो बैड, यहाँ पे इतने सारे क्लीन अप मूवमेंट्स हैं जिन्होंने, अगर हम लोग साथ में जोड़े कि उन्होंने कितने किलोज निकाले हैं, You will be shocked because we have only done in 4 years almost close to 1,30,000. So अगर आप इतने सारे movements का मतलब गिनेंगे, that amount is going to go into 10 lakh easily. That is how bad the situation is. और हमारी youth जो है, they understand.
What support you are receiving from the government? How you expect from the government?
तो टू बी ऑनेस्ट आई थिंक सिटीजन मूवमेंट का यही मेरिट है कि ये रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी टैक्स पे करने के बियॉन्ड है, राइट? तो ये जो हम लोग कर रहे हैं, ये ऐसा नहीं कि हमें गवर्नमेंट नहीं कर रही है उसलिए हम कर रहे हैं। आई थिंक हम लोग ये कर रहे हैं क्योंकि इसकी ज़रूरत है, सिविक सेंस लोगों में कम है, तो हम लोग ये कर रहे हैं ताकि लोगों में जागरूकता बढ़े कि ये करना चाहिए या नहीं करना चाहिए। और गवर्नमेंट का साथ हमें इस तरीके से मिल रहा है कि बीएमसी के जो कर्मचारी हैं वो हमारे साथ आके सफाई करते हैं। जब भी हम लोग बोलते हैं कि हमारा प्लास्टिक हमने साफ किया है, उठाना है, तो वो अपनी गाड़ी भेजते हैं। तो ऐसा नहीं है कि हमें रोका जाता है या हमें बोला जाता है कि ऐसा नहीं करना है, ये करना है। गवर्नमेंट हमारा साथ दे रही है इस तरीके से कि हम लोग को सपोर्ट कर रही है।
Today you awarded BMC workers as well. So how what was the feeling? कैसा लगा?
सो हम लोग ने हम लोग ने एक्चुअली ये पहले एडिशन में भी किया था, where we got the long working सफाई कर्मचारी फ्रॉम द बीएमसी। देखो इट्स वेरी इजी, हम लोग ने सब देखा है सोशल मीडिया पे, लोग बोलेंगे कि बीएमसी ने ये किया, बीएमसी ने ये नहीं किया, बट दे हैव डन अ लॉट फॉर अस। एट द एंड ऑफ द डे जो बीएमसी में काम करते हैं, द पीपल दैट आर क्लीनिंग आवर स्ट्रीट्स एवरी सिंगल डे, there has to be somebody that also recognizes them. And that is why we want ICUC to be that platform where change makers, people that you don't know about, who deserve the recognition, should get that recognition.
ये वाला हमारे पास ये प्रश्न आया कि इतने लोग आए पर उसके बियॉन्ड क्या, तो आई थिंक हमारा यही था कि दो जन ने हमें बताया कि आपका कॉन्फ्रेंस अटेंड करने के बाद हमने क्लीन अप मूवमेंट स्टार्ट किया खुद से। आज भी अगर आप सुनोगे, जो लिसन लाइफ्स के फाउंडर है वो बोल रहे थे आपका क्लीन अप मूवमेंट करने के बाद हमारी टीम खुद जाके फोर्ट साफ कर रही है। तो हमारे लिए मेजरमेंट ऑफ सक्सेस सिर्फ नंबर्स नहीं है, हमारे लिए इनफैक्ट मेजरमेंट ऑफ सक्सेस है कि लोगों में कितना चेंज आ रहा है, कितना उन लोग। इनफैक्ट आज भी एक लड़की जैसी मैं निकली थी, उसने बोला कि आप लोग जो बीएमसी सफाई कर्मचारी को अवार्ड दिए उसके लिए बहुत बहुत थैंक यू। तो आई थिंक ये जो बात है कि सफाई करने में कोई शर्म नहीं है, आई थिंक अगर ये चीज़ लोगों तक पहुंच जाती है तो हमारा सक्सेस बहुत ज़्यादा ऊपर तक गया है। बट शीशा और
Your message like how you should join you or people should join you, your organization, your initiative which you have taken.
My only actually don't only join my organization. पूरे इंडिया में बहुत सारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं। आपके गली में, आपके जो आपके घर के पास माउंटेन है, आपके घर के पास कोई बीच है, there is somebody already working over there. Find them online, join them, work towards your community, because that is the only way that we will see that kind of success.